Welcome to the Geek Homeworld. I am your host, Ed, aka Savage Tech Man. We talk sci-fi, TV, movies, superheroes, and all from a geek perspective. You can find us on Blogger, Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. We're everywhere. Join the Geek Homeworld. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Geek Homeworld podcast. I am back, and we're actually back on camera this time. This is, I think, episode 160 of the podcast, the Geek Homeworld podcast. I'm your host, Ed Ciucevich, and my friend Scott Schreiber is joining us once again. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here.
Video. It looks like you're there in the theater there if you're watching the video. So you're just hanging out in the theater, place you love to be.
I thought it was appropriate.
There you go. I'm still getting the studio back together, reconstructed since the move, so I'm figuring it all out. And anyway, we are following up with our OSCARS pre-show that we had, which was quite lengthy. And if you hadn't listened to that in podcast form or checked it out on YouTube, it's over there on those places, Geek Homeworld. And we're going to do our follow-up, our post-OSCARS 95 show. So you did very well.
Not bad. If you guys out there followed us and did what we told you to do, you probably won your Oscar pool, because it was a tough year. There were a lot of coin flips, as we said, but we narrowed it down to the two choices, that it could have been, and it was one or the other in most of those cases. And I did well enough to win my Oscar pool, so I took some money off some people, but but yeah, I thought it was a fun night. Jimmy Kimmel did very well. I thought all of his jokes
do really
landed. And it was, I do like to see the awards get spread around a little more, but I think everything everywhere all at once was very deserving, and it was obviously the juggernaut of the night, winning 7 total awards. I think it was nominated for 11 and then won 7 of the 11. The next closest was All Quiet on the Western Front, had 4 awards. Many people were thinking 2 or 3, and it snagged an extra one there. The Whale had 2, both of its nominations. It won 4. So it was a 2 for 2, and then there were a few with a lot others with 1. And then, there were some big films that got shut out.
Yeah, I was not happy about my Inisherin, Banshees of Inisherin not getting anything.
Banshees of Inisherin, Fabelmans, Tar, and Elvis.
Elvis. I thought we'd get something.
Out. Yeah,
and didn't. So. I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And we'll talk. We'll just. I guess we're gonna just get into it, because I'm not gonna start going off in tangents here. But
we'll let everybody know if they missed it. They may be listening to us to know what happened. So let's roll through it. Yeah.
All right. So the first category is live action short film. Is that correct?
Yeah, live action short film, and it went to An Irish Goodbye, which there was a good moment there. With I believe the man with Down syndrome, and the whole crowd sang happy birthday to him. So that was one of the best moments of the night. And it was it's good to see one of the Irish films or Irish people win, because it was a historic night for nominations for
the Irish
for Ireland. So they got one win there with The Irish Goodbye on a live action short film. And then in the documentary short film, The Elephant Whisperers took it over Stranger at the Gate. That was a coin flip that we thought that was a tough one to predict. These short ones are always
they're always a little unpredictable. It's hard to say.
But we did lead everybody right with animated short film. It was the Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That
looks really good. I really wanted to see that.
Yeah. I'd like to. I think it might. I think it's on Apple Plus. If anybody out there's got Apple Plus, go check that out on there. And then we got into some of the locks here. Everybody knew international feature film was going to go to All Quiet on the Western Front. That was its first, I believe, its first award of the night. And everybody saw that one coming too, of course.
I thought that on an outside chance that The Quiet Girl might have had a chance, but well, I mean, it
Yeah,
got nominated,
sure. Yeah.
but yeah. If Best Picture wasn't going to All Quiet on the Western Front, then it felt like international film. It definitely had to get international feature film and had to get that lock on that,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it did. So let's see, that's animated and that's international. So kind of going through them pretty quick here. Documentary feature
Yeah, and
was
that one went to Navalny. I was kind of hoping that Fire Love, but my gut said it was going to go to Navalny, and that was like the one. Like there wasn't a lot of politics on the show last night, but that was definitely a
thankfully so.
political moment. But this one, it actually didn't feel forced or anything because they actually, they brought up the wife of Navalny and their two kids, and it was kind of this, actually
Very
kind of a
touching.
it was, and it was kind of a powerful moment. And I don't know, a lot of people will say keep politics and Hollywood apart, but I still think like they didn't get too political on the night. That was a perfect moment for it, and then it went on, and it was. I think it definitely could get people out there to watch the film too. I know it's on HBO if you want to go see it, but yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna HBO Max. I'm gonna check it out. Fire of Love, yeah, it would have been great to see that win, but I can understand Navalny getting documentary feature on that one. And now animated feature was just there was no other ones except maybe Marcel. I was kind of hoping because it looks so cute. The shell with the shoes on, but an A24 film. I thought maybe that gave it an edge up.
they
Because
had a
that's
great
been
night.
they had a fantastic night that studio did, but it was the winner was obviously
Was Yeah, it was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. That was another one of the ones who said it was a lock. There's no way. And it was the whole every speech that Del Toro gave was great. Like he was basically really trying to push animated film as an art form, and he said it is filmmaking. It's not for children and all. So yeah, he's pushing to keep getting funded. I guess in a way, he's like keep
well
giving me
that's what you got
money
to do. I'll
because
keep
I
getting
want
an
to make
Oscar so I
animated
can keep
films.
making
So
these. But
but yeah, so that one was a lock, and then another lock was visual effects. Avatar: Way of
way
Water
water, yeah.
was going to win that hands down. I thought it was interesting that James Cameron was not there. You can say what you will about that. I don't know why he wouldn't show up, but maybe
So
he's probably busy shooting the next one, I guess.
best visual effects. I got my little Top
Yeah,
Gun
man.
poster here. Um, no, Avatar definitely does. If it deserved any award, that was the award of visual effects that it definitely deserved.
Yeah,
The
and no
next,
interesting note there.
yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Joe Lettery. He's kind of the lead man on all these VFX crews. He's already had won 4 times, and for a couple other small films, Lord of the Rings 2 and 3, and King Kong, and the first Avatar. So this was his 5th win. So he's kind of moving up the ranks and visual effects legend status. So
Right.
just wanted to throw that note out there. But he
A
keeps
well
at it.
deserved win. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Totally top of their game there. Now the next one was something I had to take care of myself here, hair and makeup. That's why we didn't do video last night, right? Or yesterday for the pre-award
Well,
show.
I didn't fix my problem. As you see, it's kind of cold here. It's been in the 40s
I
actually,
know,
so
yeah.
I didn't want to shave yet. So
Yeah. But that brings us to makeup and hairstyling.
yeah,
So
this was another toss up. This is a tough one, and it's actually
yeah.
one I missed on my ballot. I ended up going with Elvis. I thought they would reward the crew that showed stages of his life instead of just the one bodysuit
Right.
work that was on the whale. not that it was not deserving. I thought
Mm-hmm.
it was pretty amazing work. So did not object to that at all. But yeah,
I guess it.
yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say, I guess it proves that more like more costumes with Elvis and all that in different periods doesn't necessarily mean an instant win. More isn't
Yeah.
better.
And well, I also was I was talking to somebody at the office about the makeup and hair and the costume for Elvis and why maybe it didn't win, and they had something to go off of. Essentially, is one thing you can maybe take a hit. You can kind of
Interesting.
take a notch out of it for saying, they didn't create it from scratch. They knew what they had to do and they just copied it. So, if somebody thinks about it that way, then maybe they would do it vote for the whale instead. But because it was a completely new kind of thing to be done. But I don't know.
And it
I
was done digitally, correct?
what's that?
There were some digital aspects of how they did the well, I
I'm
call it
sure there's
prosthetics of the
some
whale,
touch
but
up, but I'm pretty sure that was a lot of that was practical.
Was it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to say that it was digital, like it was, like special effects or anything, but I think like how they made some of the prosthetics. I mean, I don't know, like maybe they designed it digitally in the computer to manufacturing. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I don't know enough about it. The process. It's something I need to look into. But yeah, Whale picked up makeup and hairstyling, and sound went to this little unknown film. I don't know who. Did
Yeah.
somebody say best picture, best cinematography?
No, this was this
I'm
was the
flashing
one place.
my posters here. Okay, can
So
you tell what my thoughts are?
yeah, I was gonna say, Ed, did you like Top Gun Maverick?
I did like Top Gun Maverick. Me and about a billion other people that saw it, and
Yeah, yeah, and this was its one true chance to win, and it did, and it ended up being its lone Oscar. But now you can say Top Gun Maverick is an Oscar winning film.
Oscar winner. Yeah,
So and well deserved. Some people thought this would go to All Quiet on the Western Front, but Top Gun ended up taking it. Yeah.
I really did think it was going to go to All Quiet on the Western Front. I could totally see, it's a war film, and the sound in those, and what you have to create and recreate it. It's so very intricate. So it's not to take anything away from like All Quiet on the Western Front, what they did there. But yeah, Top Gun Maverick. I mean, the sound, the visuals, the cinematography is so part of that film, even though it has a great story. But yeah, sound, Top Gun is an Academy Award winner. Yay! My one
Forever.
day,
You can't take it away.
can't take it away. I would like to say Oscar winning, or well, you could say Oscar nominated. Tom Cruise, or can you? No.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
you can. You can. So we go to the original song.
Yeah, best
And
song, and I didn't realize they were performing all five. Like I thought I read that
right.
Lady Gaga wasn't going to be there, and that they weren't going to perform the Diane Warren song or something. I don't know, but they performed all five. And I coming into the night, we both thought "Not to" was going to be the performance of the night, right?
Right.
And I honestly think it was the second best performance. How about you?
I I hit the wrong button there. I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, don't and you'll
I expected more. I expected 100 more people on stage, I
I
guess.
guess
I
that
don't
was it,
know.
right?
And 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 we know I'll tell you hands down before I tell you who we think the worst was. I mean the best, excuse me. The worst for me was and I'm making sure. Okay. Yeah, David Byrne.
It
I got
came
nothing off of
it came
that.
off really bizarre, and I know that's kind of
It came
the
off
point.
bland and bizarre. I don't know. Maybe it was just me, but
Yeah, but it's all. I will defend it this way. It's one of those that sounds good and from the studio. Like if you listen to it on a CD or whatever
Mhm.
CD, I'm dating myself. If you go on iTunes and download this, it sounds a lot better. It's not a live performance, so it did come off really bizarre, but at least it gave us the image we all wanted to see, and that was David Byrne with hot dog fingers. So
Exactly. And if nobody's ever seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, they have no idea why these people have hot dog
yeah,
fingers.
exactly.
And
I didn't think about that. People had never seen that movie.
they're
It would
like,
be so.
what's wrong with this guy, this poor guy with his hot dog fingers? And she's got them too. And what's happening?
Yeah, but you're right. That was poor. Didn't really get into the Diane Warren song. It
I
just
didn't
kind of
either.
it
I
felt like it was just like they wrote it to get nominated, and like I don't know. I don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, she's
It
great with a
didn't come off
14th
that well.
nomination. But
Rihanna,
by far the standout more than Natu Natu was, I'll let you say it because she's your
was
friend.
Lady Gaga.
Definitely
Like
stripped
she's
down, no makeup.
Yeah, which
Uh,
was interesting because she had obviously come out, full makeup,
oh yeah,
dressed, and everything. So she went backstage and just rubbed everything off and put her torn jeans and t-shirt on, and it was just a great stripped down
you know
performance. And
what made it interesting? At first, I thought it was just going to be one angle of that. The camera angle made it
yeah,
very intimate, and it made it very
absolutely,
powerful.
yeah.
And I will have to say, and I'm going to go on record and of saying this, I think Rihanna performance was very good as well, but I think Rihanna is more beautiful than Beyonce and a better
Oh,
performer than Beyonce.
oh my
There you go,
god,
Queen Bees that are listening. That's right. I
yeah. I
said
think
it.
the Beehive. If something happens to Ed, the Beehive did it.
Is it the
Yeah,
Beehive? Is that what they call themselves? I like Beyonce and everything. And yes, gorgeous. She's gorgeous, of course, but I don't
I
know, something about Rihanna. I just,
I
oh
love her
man.
too. I love
And I love
and
that song, Lift
actually,
Me Up, you know.
supposedly her name is Rihanna, and
I heard that discussion. Yeah. Where did I see that? What video was I watching? Something today
yeah,
I
I
was
don't know.
watching.
Yeah, but because Kimmel was calling her that all night, so it
Right.
was like and you know, yeah, somebody's looked it up, and she evidently has said in an interview that it's Rihanna, not Rihanna, but she doesn't care. It's either
Yeah.
one.
She's
So
like, give me the
we can keep.
Grammys.
I'm going
I
to
don't
keep calling
care.
her Rihanna. But yeah,
Rihanna, Rihanna.
I think they need to stop lifting her up out off of the floor.
Somebody
She,
said that too.
like
I was like, she's,
she's
you,
pregnant. Let's
you
not.
can't do that to a pregnant lady. That's just not nice.
Although
She's
pregnant women
doing
can do anything. So
She can do it exactly, and Rihanna she gave a very good performance.
yeah,
I don't know if it's her best performance, but she just looked fabulous, and she really that's a beautiful song there, and where that's placed in the movie, it certainly adds
yeah,
to the feel of Wakanda Forever.
yeah. And not to was fun. Don't take it away. But I
Yeah,
think you hit the nail on the head. It was like if they had 100 people on the stage, like in the movie, it would have felt just so much more epic. And if they had really gone into the audience more and stuff, I don't know.
I felt like they were really trying to compress for time on a lot of things, even though it
Yeah,
didn't. Oh, there were only a few times,
they
where they
did
cut some people off, but
yeah,
I felt like they didn't go as big as they could have.
yeah.
Like maybe where they have the awards there isn't as big as I think it is. Maybe you
I
can't fit
mean,
500 people on stage,
I don't know
or
if you've
300.
seen the don't know if you've seen the film, but they could have
Mhm.
brought out some live tigers and elephants and
That
stuff.
would and let them loose. That would have
But
been fun, and then try to slap a tiger. I don't think so.
they totally dropped the ball on that one. So,
Yeah, no. I mean,
but
it
we
was
might as
still a
well
good
throw
performance, though.
the other performance. The other musical performance was Lenny Kravitz for the In Memoriam. We might as well talk about it here with those
Oh
songs.
yes.
He did a great job. I'm not sure. I think somebody. I don't know whose song that was. I can't remember. Did you know you said it? It was when we were texting back and forth. I think it is a song by Train. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't
calling
want to.
all angels.
Was that what that was?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I didn't, and it must have been
It was
arranged
I mean,
different.
it's a good choice. I hadn't thought of it. I wouldn't have probably thought that would be the song they would use, but I mean, it totally works.
Yeah.
And all that.
No,
And I love Lenny Kravitz. He's awesome. So
and then that was a touching moment too with Travolta. Like he truly got
I
choked
thought
up
he was
about
just
talking
being
about.
nervous at first, and it
I
didn't even
know,
occur to me about Olivia Newton-John until
right?
he said that, and he choked up when he said it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, this really hits,
yeah.
and uh, there were some good songs in there, and I mean, "Hold My Hand" by Lady Gaga was definitely the standout of those when
I
it should have been
think
"Natu Natu."
I think she stole the night again. Like because when they performed the night with the star when a star is born was
From Bohemian Rhapsody, you mean?
yeah yeah that night. No, I thought that performance that night was the best performance of the night too, with her and Bradley Cooper, and
Yeah.
that broke up his marriage or whatever. I
Oops.
don't know. I'm just joking.
I hope we get an award out of it or
But yeah, so
something.
she stole the show again for a great moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then as far as the other musical category, original
Original score.
score, that one was kind of a toss up again between Babylon and All Quiet on the Western Front, and All Quiet on the Western Front won that. So that was its second Oscar of the night, I
I
believe.
was watching the awards with someone, and they said to me, they said, it's kind of a downer score. It's like, I was like, yeah, I
It's
mean, it goes with the film, but
yeah, it sets the tone. It's so
it does.
ominous, so
It
it's very deserving.
it does what it's supposed to do. So,
Yeah,
but for me and you both, Babylon, I think was all around a better score. I
yeah,
mean,
I
it just
would.
worked for me.
Yeah,
And
I really like that in the score for Banshees too. Yeah, so
yeah, I'm a sucker for Irish music, so
yeah, right.
I could have easily went the way with that.
Yep, it's in our
And
blood.
and we got no John Williams as the oldest. He was oldest not at 90, being the oldest ever nominee at the Oscars, but he didn't win. And neither
He'll
did
have to hold
Spielberg.
out for another year because he's doing Indiana Jones, I think, and that they'll probably
Well,
nominate him for that.
yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. So um, we move right along to costume
Yep.
design, which the costume and production designs are kind of toss ups as the way we saw them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This was another one where we thought it was either Elvis or Black Panther. We thought there was a chance for Wakanda Forever to take it. I ultimately picked Elvis in my pool,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it ended up going to Wakanda Forever, and Ruth Carter made history, becoming the first ever Black woman to win two Oscars. So a bit of history there.
Fantastic for her, yeah.
Yeah, very deserving because they made some kind of comment about how she was 3D printing some of her wardrobe and stuff, and it was like as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, so she's like being extremely innovative with how
Right.
she's creating her
She's
stuff. So
she's pushing the median forward,
yeah,
and yeah, I mean, one thing, if anything, costume design between that and Elvis, we're totally the front runners on that, and we thought on the outside chance it could have been Elvis, but it went to Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever.
yeah, and that was the one win for Wakanda Forever. So there were a few movies that at least got one. So that was Black Panther Wakanda Forever's one.
Guarantee they're already calling her up for what Black Panther
Yeah,
3 or
yeah. In
whatever else she
fact,
wants to do. She's head of costume.
if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know where I got this information, but I think she's going to be the costume designer on Blade. So yeah,
That would be fantastic.
yeah,
Like, well, her talents are definitely historic, right? At this point, with two Oscar wins.
absolutely.
So production design, we thought a three-way race.
Yeah,
It could go
absolutely.
either way. And what were those three?
Yeah, we thought it could be either Babylon, Elvis, or All Quiet on the Western Front. I honestly thought this was Babylon's like a lock in a way. Like I thought maybe a little outside shot to the other two, but I really thought Babylon was going to get rewarded here as
Yes.
another one that I missed. Kind of disappointed it didn't, because those sets, that was a pretty cool endeavor on that film. But I get it with All Quiet on the Western Front. It's
Mm-hmm.
like they created the trenches again. Like, I know
I keep
that they
throwing back to 1917.
well, yeah, I was about to
You know,
say that. Basically, anytime there's a World War One film and they actually start from scratch and create the battleground and the trenches, it's like it's pretty tall task, and I get why you reward that. It's pretty impressive work, because you also have to be able to get the cameras in there, and it's I get it. I get it. I would have voted for Babylon, but I understand why All Quiet on the Western Front did win. So.
yeah, I wanted to show you this little pen that I got here for the next category. It was it was
It's not
a
a naked lady
collector's
pin,
pen
is it?
here. I'm showing you on video for people. I don't know.
Ah,
It's from a film that should have been, as we talk about cinematography. Oh, it's from Top Gun Maverick.
man, are they paying you?
No, they're not, and they
Okay,
should.
okay. All
Because
right.
there's two travesties in this Oscars that we can agree on. Till not being nominated for anything,
Anything.
anything, and cinematography. There's no nomination for Top Gun Maverick,
Yeah,
which
for
of
Claude.
anything it should have got at least a nomination.
Yeah, for Claudio Miranda. A lot of people were upset about the Batman not getting nominated either. So I think even Roger Deakins said it was the best work of the year for cinematography. The
That's
Batman.
interesting because it was Batman was very good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But again, like, yeah, I agree. Top Gun should have been nominated here, but it ultimately went to All Quiet on the Western Front, which is what we expected. We thought maybe there would be some history there with Elvis, with Mandy Walker winning. She would have been the first woman to ever win that award, but it went to James Franz in All Quiet on the Western Front. Again, it's one of those. It's a war epic, and there are a lot of interesting camera maneuvers in that film. A lot of long takes that are just really hard to choreograph. So I get it. Again, it's
Yeah.
very deserving. I do have All Quiet on the Western Front in my top 10 this year. I was blown away with it. I think, had there been other war epics this year, maybe I wouldn't have thought that way as much, but it stood out in that way that I really enjoy it. And war films are one of my favorite genres too. So.
Mine as well. And when All Quiet on the Western Front got nominated, us or as it was coming along through award season, it was like this feels like a film made for Oscar, and obviously some of it was, at least in some of the major categories. So we get to film editing, and it was another toss up. They're probably not probably not a surprise, but we had Top Gun Maverick and Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the
Yeah,
winner was.
those were the two front runners, and Everything Everywhere All at Once took that. And
Mhm.
I think once it took that moment, like once it took editing, I kind of knew that it was going to go on a run and be going to
Right.
sweep things, because it just felt like that it was their night, and it did end up being that way. I know both of us were kind of rooting for Top Gun, but ultimately
We
it
were.
makes total sense. Like when you
Yeah.
put together the multiverse, and it's pretty astounding work. Well deserved win for editing for Everything Everywhere All
A
at Once.
couple of others in the category. I mean, Elvis, I definitely, when they showed the little montage and the different outfits, where they flashed and you see the different colors of the outfits and all
Yeah.
that, like
Well, and
superimposed it.
anytime you're editing a Boz Lerman film, that's
Right.
gotta be that's gotta be tough. So hats off to them. So
And then the first thing I thought from like the first couple of frames of when I saw Banshees of Inisherin was how well I thought it was edited together, how well it seemed to flow. So I mean,
yeah.
I can see the nomination for that for film editing, but if I had to choose, it'd be Maverick, obviously, or Everything. I would probably have gone with, if I had to pick one, it would have been Everything Everywhere All at Once, because yes, this all the different scenes in the different universes and how they had everything had to match up just perfectly. And that, I mean, that was some, I won't say a master class, but it was definitely very good film editing, and
Well,
obviously enough
that's
for
proof that Paramount Pictures is not paying you to say Top Gun for everything. So,
mm, but if no
but
um but if Maverick would have gotten it, I would have still said nice things about everything everywhere all at once. And but I would have been happy with Maverick getting some gold, some extra gold there. Um, so the next category is original screenplay, and we had two of them that we thought were front runners, and they were.
yeah, we were really hoping that this would be the one win for Banshees of Inisherin, but it did not go that way. It went
Oh, my
everything
lucky
everywhere.
charms, I tell you.
It went everything everywhere all at once. Well deserved again though. The Daniels created something really unique, and I get it. Hats off to them for that. And that I think this was the moment in the night where one of the Daniels listed off all the teachers. That was a good moment. All of his teachers growing up. Instead of listing your agent and everything. I thought that was kind of noble of him. Because they had to keep coming up with a lot of different things to say because they were up there a lot. So
Yeah, the two Daniels and all that. And after a while, like, give an award to Spielberg, just throw him some gold, throw him an Oscar.
yeah, right.
um, but yeah, this was the one on the screenplay. I thought Inisherin did have the best chance, and instead it got all of its hot dog fingers cut off. So
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of good lines and quotes from Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I think like when you come out of watching Banshees, it's like there's quote after quote after quote.
yeah,
It's so well written,
I'm working on
so
my bad
funny.
Irish accent coming out of the film, and I'm just, after watching it, I watched it like a couple times at least. I know I'll watch it again, and
Hey, you fecking crazy? Feck, I said feck. I said feck.
you can't just not be friends with someone. Well, yes, you can. And the um, the sister in there, I forget her name, the actress. I mean, she was
Carrie
wonderful too.
Condon. Yeah, she was fantastic.
But I think, I mean, is there's no other way that Colin Farrell could have played his character. But when I think of him in the Batman as the Penguin, it's like, totally different films here, totally different performances. And I felt there was more of a performance in that one, even though I like the simplicity and the beauty of his performance. And his character was just, he's like, you
It's
used to be nice.
there's so much in the delivery
Yes,
and in just the chemistry between those two, between
definitely.
between him and Brendan Gleeson. It's pretty unique, and there's I imagine there'll be a third film that they do together because they had done In Bruges together, all through the writer director and then Farrell and Gleason. So this is they'll do a third one eventually. I imagine.
The Banshees of Inisherin too. Did they make it
Well,
off the island? I don't know. I don't know where the sequel
oh,
goes.
and that reminds me, we did get Jenny the donkey made an appearance last night.
We did.
Yeah,
So,
there were a couple of animal sightings. Cocaine Bear made an appearance.
and just what's her name? Tripped. I can't think of her name. Just about tripped her up on stage there.
Oh yeah, Elizabeth Banks. Yeah,
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks. She's like, he tripped me. Well, you don't trust a cocaine bear. You should know better. And,
yeah,
and Cocaine Bear was in the audience there, and Jimmy, right behind Jimmy Kimmel, didn't see. He's like, "Whoa,
yeah. That was a
that was
that was an
unscripted."
interesting moment. Like I don't know if you Cocaine Bear should really mess with Malala. She's a
Yeah, that didn't
that
feel
was
like that
odd,
joke
but
went over well. If anything bombed, that was that. It just
yeah.
didn't.
But at least he
Yeah.
Kimmel transitioned to his feud with Matt Damon. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He got that little jab in there. So, but So anyway, that was original screenplay, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Then we get to even bigger categories, are getting bigger and bigger. Adapted screenplay.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one I was glad to see did go to Sarah Polley like we were thinking. Because
Yeah.
I think it is kind of an as far as how many nominations it got, Women Talking, with it only getting 2 nominations and it was a Best Picture nominee. I'm glad it won this award because it should have been nominated for at least 1 or 2 acting in supporting actress. I thought you could argue the cinematography in it too. I mean, although it's a tough year for cinematography, so it was nice to see that. And
You
Sarah
don't
Polley gave
say.
it, yeah. So Sarah Polley, gave a nice speech too, and yeah, I look forward to more films from her. I think she's one of the women auteurs out there. Her, Greta Gerwig. Yeah, I think there's a nice movement here going now. So with the ladies. Sorry, that's
And
I shouldn't have said it that way.
well, adapted screenplay did live up to the award. It was women talking, and they delivered on that. And I
They
like what
did.
she said. She said those 2 words together, women talking, and people still watched our film, or something to that effect. It didn't turn people off. She was trying to make a statement there,
Yeah.
which is, it's an important film. And it won adapted screenplay. And now we get into the big awards. Supporting
Yeah, and
actress.
some moment, and obviously with the acting awards, the
And this is where I led
speeches.
you astray.
Well, that's okay. It's fine because I had actually filled out my ballot before we talked. So, because my gut was telling me they would give supporting actress to Angela Bassett. I just really thought that was going
Yeah.
to happen. Obviously with Jamie Lee Curtis winning at the SAG Awards, it kind of threw a wrench in that. But I still just felt like they were going to reward her. And God bless her, she didn't. Angela Bassett did not look too happy when she
She did
lost.
not. Yeah, yeah. They had to cut
And
the
I
camera away from that.
yeah, and I get it though. It's like she probably had an amazing speech prepared, especially like
A, a very
paying
empowering
tribute,
speech, and
right? Paying tribute to Chadwick Boseman and the film and everything. And I think that she couldn't hold back her true feelings in that moment, and she was
right.
disappointed. And I get it. So and then Jamie Lee Curtis, who I do like as an actress, and I just don't think she's quite deserving to win here. But I don't know. I would have voted for Carrie Condon. We talked about that pre-show.
Right. And Banshees of
Um,
Inisherin, she
yeah,
was the
but
glue of that movie too. But
but
Angela Bassett.
I did like elements of Jamie Lee Curtis's speech.
Mhm. Oh, I
Some of
did
it
too.
was a little self-serving, but at least what I did like is
Yeah.
she did the shout out to horror fans. Essentially, she was just like, I made all these
Right.
fringe films, and you followed me, and you kept me going, and so she did do a shout out to the fans of all of the horror genre that love her films and love her. So that was a nice moment. And then, and she kept saying, we won an Oscar. And it's like,
Right.
hey, okay,
And her
maybe.
mom and dad got nominated for Oscars. I didn't look up to see if they had won Oscars,
No, I
but
think that was her point, was
yeah,
that they were nominated and never won. I don't believe they ever.
yeah. And I like the biggest thing was her shout out for me, the shout out to not just her parents, but to the horror fan genre, because we're seeing that more. We're seeing the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once is a type of film that I did not think it would get. I knew it was a good film when I saw it, but I didn't think it would rise to the level of the upper
I
echelon of
I
things.
don't know if I ever imagined that either, that it would have been this high on the
Mm-hmm.
Academy's list. And especially when it came, I think it came out in March. So like it was able to stay
Yeah,
relevant the
and
entire
and
year.
one thing they didn't mention, that one of the filmmakers said, "Thank you A24 to keeping us in theaters almost all of the year." And because of the soft kind of schedule that we still have compared to years and, pre-pandemic years, a lot of films had a chance to have longer legs. Top Gun Maverick is brilliant film, but it still had a chance to have longer legs. There were a lot of films that had a chance to have longer legs and kind of coexist in the theater space. And I know we touched on this a little bit on the last episode, but people need to really, if this doesn't energize them to get back in the theaters, and Nicole Kidman, she was released from her 2 or 3 years
Yeah, I love how
sitting in a
we
stranded theater, like Jimmy
yeah,
Kimmel
we
said.
made that joke, and Kimmel made made the joke.
And but people really need to start going back to the theaters, and they need to start supporting films in theaters and not just waiting for, oh well, I'm gonna miss this one, and wait for it to the dual release or whatever, the streaming release or whatever. If you want theaters to survive and the industry to continue to thrive, you need to go to theaters. And I think that was a point, even with Jamie Lee Curtis, without her realizing it, her giving that shout out to like the horror genre, because that's been driving a lot of the business. Films like that are made cheaper, and they don't have to turn a $200 million profit all the time to break even or whatever.
And
I think
the horror fan base are very loyal and very and will go see everything and give it a shot. Like they really will. Like I know
they
I
will.
do.
Yeah, opening weekend.
I've seen so many bad horror films. So
well, like
it's a hard genre to do, but I love to watch people try.
One film I have not been able to get out to theater, but recently, but I still want to see Megan. I just hear really good things about it for a film that's not supposed to really be that good. It actually is that good, and
I was entertained. It's not as far as like horror films this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as good as Scream 6. So I'm just saying.
Really, yeah, that opens pretty big. I think the biggest in the franchise. Which I'm like this far along. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Well, that franchise never lets you down, so I'll say that.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, it was tough to see Angela Bassett not win supporting actress there. If it went to, I think it would have been even more of a shock if Carrie Condon got it. There might have been more of, I won't say an uproar. Not that there's an uproar now because Angela Bassett didn't win, but for her body of work and all she's done, it feels like a Spielberg. It feels like, they should have, or John Williams should have gave her the, even, she should have got the Oscar.
And maybe there's still, even though she was nominated for a Marvel film, maybe there's still that bias of, well, we're not going to let you win. You were in a Marvel film. So, I mean, I don't
unless you're the costumer, but in your Ruth, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure Angela Bassett's gonna. I mean, you and I talked about the other films that she probably should have, won awards for before, and the fact that she hasn't, it's just crazy.
It's but like this happens a lot. I remember a few years ago, Glenn Close was pretty much going to win win her Oscar, and then Olivia Colman won instead.
I saw online. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying I saw online that Glenn Close was supposed to be at the Oscars last night, but she came down with COVID. So I hope she's, thoughts and prayers with her. I'm sure she's well, or will be well soon. But yeah, it's like when you find out, it's kind of like finding out a music group you like has never won a Grammy or something, and you're like, oh my God, you can name like tons of their hits and they've never won an award or something, and it makes no sense. You're like, surely they had to win something. Like Angela Bassett has had to win at least one Oscar, but there's always hope for the future. And anyway, so supporting actor, and once again, I don't see Tom Cruise's name on here. I don't know why. It must be a misprint somewhere. But
he would have been lead actor anyway. So,
I'm supporting actor. Oh, excuse me. Oops, I messed that joke up already. I'm sure I got sound effects here for that, but
I am leaving the podcast right
Yes, sir.
No, supporting actor was one of those locks. We knew it was going to be Ki Wei Kwan, and you know, I hate to be like to be a downer on it, but like his speech, like what he was saying was meaningful, but man, he was crying so hard. It was just like, yeah, like it's oh god, it's emotional and I get it, but it was just like bring it down a little bit, in my opinion.
Oh, I
But
would
I
have been
know
worse.
a lot of people love that moment, and I love that he won. Like obviously, like
I do
to
too.
just to see Short Round and like Short Round from Indiana Jones or Data from the Goonies is now an Oscar winner, and I had forgotten that he was in Encino Man, and so
I had
like
forgotten that too.
because they
Yeah.
made that joke last that night, and I was like, oh god, he was in Encino Man.
And
So
like,
him and Brendan Fraser
yeah, and he said,
were
somebody
both
check on
in the
Pauly Shore.
yeah. Somebody go check on Pauly Shore. Um, that was a great joke of the that was probably my favorite joke of the night. But yeah, that was great. And he did, you know, like his story is pretty incredible. So, and I get it. Like you know, it was. I just feel like some of these people were acting surprised when they won every single award leading up to this. Is I
Right,
guess
right.
my point in a way. But it is the Oscar, you know, it is the biggest one of all, and it finally happened, and I get it. And you know, good on
And I
him.
mean, for
We'll
supporting actor,
see,
he's it's certainly a well deserved win.
and
If
you know, it's
Barry,
gonna jumpstart his career again. Like he's gonna be so sought after and be in a lot of stuff now again.
let's hope so. Let's hope
So
so.
yeah. And then Judd Hirsch, poor Judd Hirsch, you know, has to wait around another year. You know, didn't win that. So
Yeah.
but yeah, and
But
then Best Actress kind of just kept the party going for everything, everywhere, all at once. Michelle Yeoh beat out Kate Blanchett. They were the two front runners there, but Michelle Yeoh made history,
mm-hmm.
becoming the first Asian woman to win lead actress, second person of color to win in this category, along with Halle Berry, who coincidentally enough was on stage presenting. You know, it's funny how
There's
those
nothing
things happen.
coincidence about that. And
I
did she not look fabulous though? I mean, she looked very
Which
good.
they all did, but who?
No, we all did. Um, Halle
Allie?
Berry. I
Oh
thought she
yeah,
looked.
she looked great.
Yeah, she
And
looked
it was
fantastic.
interesting though, she presented like it so we can thank the Will Smith slap for Halle Berry being on stage when Michelle Yeoh joins her in you know in good company and becomes the second person of color to win in that category because they always get the previous year's winner, you know, the lead
True.
and actor and actress to come out and present the following year. Who was out there? Jessica Chastain. She won lead actress last year.
Right.
Will Smith would have been out there with her, but they brought out Halle Berry instead, and I
They
thought it
should have
was
brought
great.
out Chris Rock. He's like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
right. Yeah, no,
I'm glad they brought out Halle Berry.
no, it was a fitting person to have out there
It was.
when Michelle won. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, that was another great moment. Her speech was also very great. You know, shout out to her mom, and
And
actually they both did, didn't they? Kiwi Kwan said his mom was watching at home.
yeah,
Mama, I won an Oscar.
Oscar.
Short Round won an Oscar.
And she said, Michelle Yeoh said that don't let anybody say you've aged out of something. I forgot how she said it, but
Yeah, she just basically, yeah, she said
yeah,
that.
and that's a good point because that happens in Hollywood. I know actresses that are, well, you're too old for the role, or we can't
But
put
that's
someone.
you definitely see that changing in the last few years.
Yes,
You've seen these high
thankfully.
profile, yeah, you'll see these high profile roles for older talent. I mean, you've got Gene Smart has a renaissance right now. Jennifer Coolidge is hot right now. It's just like so. Yeah, there's definitely been a change here for sure. For obviously for the better. Yeah.
Yeah. So that leads us to Best Actor, and I couldn't have been happier.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree. Sorry.
For Brendan
Big
Fraser to
situation.
win. We had it in a three-way kind of toss up. We could see it going for Austin Butler for Elvis, or Colin Farrell for Banshees of Inisherin, but Brendan Fraser just was more of a shoe in, and I'm glad that he got this. It feels so good, just like everything coming around full circle for him. It
It's
just felt really good.
just like Kiwi Kwan. It's just
Exactly.
it's just a great story, and for really to think about like Darren Aronofsky and like to have that vision too, and saying I'm gonna pick Brendan Fraser because basically he thought of nobody else for that role other than Brendan Fraser, and he believed in him and he got that performance out of him, and I was definitely behind it. He was who I wanted to win. He's my number one actor of the year. I was definitely blown away from it. It's so much better than, as I've said on the pre-show, than anything else he's done in his career. And Austin Butler has time to keep going and do this again because he obviously showed that he's talented like he did with Elvis. So.
Yeah, so that was good to it was good to see Brendan Fraser again. I didn't think Colin would get it. I mean,
No, he'd kind of fallen off.
right at
Yeah,
that point, yeah. And all that. Then we get to Best Director, and once again, it was we were hoping on an outside chance it'd be Spielberg, but we kind of at this point the momentum of the night we knew it was the two Daniels that were going to get it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they became the third pair to direct best or to win best director. I'm sorry, but with Wise and Robbins, West Side Story, Coen Brothers, No Country for Old Men, and now the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So a little more history made there. So they would end up winning 3 because they would win Best Picture. Yeah, and yeah, again, we did want Spielberg to win. That would have been some good history. It would have been a good way to give one award to the Fabelmans, but Fabelmans got shut out,
Right.
as we said, and yeah, so it won Best Picture, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So 7 wins total out of 11 nominations. Pretty dang good night.
Yeah.
And A24, as we mentioned earlier, they won 9 in total because there were 7 for Everything Everywhere All at Once and 2 for The Whale.
Right.
So they A24, I think they had their best night ever, obviously, and I think it was the first time since Slumdog Millionaire, which was, I want to say, what, 10, gosh, what year is it? I don't know. It's
It's
been probably 10,
2023, so
between
about
10 and
1,000
15
years ago.
years. Yeah. Yeah. Between 10 and 15 years ago, whenever Slumdog Millionaire was, that a movie dominated the night like this, where it won this many. I usually don't like nights like this. I remember, and you'll probably fight me on this, but the Lord of the Rings Return of the King night, where it just, God, I think it won.
Well deserved.
Yeah, exactly. I knew you were going to say that, but it won
Well
everything,
deserved.
and it was like the most boring ceremony I've ever watched because it was just Lord of the Rings, Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings,
Rings, Lord
Lord
of
of
the
the
Rings.
Rings. So this wasn't quite that bad, you know. It did get spread around a little bit, but it
Yeah,
was a dominant night for Everything Everywhere All
I
at
like
Once.
what Jimmy Kimmel said to Steven Spielberg, and he said, "Well, they say do what you know," and so he directed a film about himself. So,
Yeah. And
um,
this did give us a great moment because who was presenting Best Picture but
Han
Harrison Ford?
Solo,
Yeah, yeah.
Indiana
Well,
Jones,
in Indy. It was Indiana
Indy,
Jones,
yeah.
and so you
There's a
know,
beautiful pictures of that where I forget his name. Help me out. Quan.
Wait, go on.
Yes, yes.
You're just afraid to pronounce it.
I am. I'm afraid I'm going to mess up the name. But he was running up the stage before everybody else because he saw Harrison Ford up there, and he gives Harrison Ford they give each other the biggest hug, and it's just it's such a nice moment. It's a really cool moment there.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and it's just I mean Can you imagine going all those years of your life and coming that full circle? Just like Brendan Fraser's, situation we talked about a
Sure.
minute ago. It's
I mean, and
you get
even
those
like you,
cool Oscar moments.
yeah, and you can even argue it for all four acting awards, like because obviously they were all first time winners, and like
Right.
Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis, they've been
Yeah.
acting for a very, very long time,
Long time.
and they're finally getting their due here, So hats off to all of them. I think there was another. I think All Quiet on the Western Front tied the record for most wins by an international film. I think it tied Crouching Tiger, which is kind of fitting because Michelle Yeoh.
Right.
So,
A lot
so
of the
it's
stars seemed to line up, didn't it?
yeah, I think so. I think it was the actual show itself was nothing special. It wasn't like nothing that really blew you away, no huge
Right.
moments, but they did what they needed to do. They needed to get back on track
Mhm.
and just have a straight up award show. We're going to hand out awards. We're going to perform some songs,
We got a
from the
crisis team
movies.
just in case.
And then the only negative thing I thought was the weird built in promo for The Little Mermaid. That was strange. Although we both agree that
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy is perfect casting for Ursula,
Ursula, yeah, perfect, perfect.
and I like I think
I
the
don't I
young
don't have any
girl.
problem with the casting. I mean, I don't get the whole
Yeah, exactly.
deal about casting who the Little Mermaid is. It doesn't
Yeah, I
bother me
think
whatsoever.
Hallie. I can't remember her last name, but I think the young girl's doing. She looks like she's going
Right.
to do great, and I think it's just funny when people complain about stuff like that. And it's just like, mermaids aren't real, and this is a fictional character, so she could probably have whatever color skin she needs to have, whatever.
No,
So it is
exactly.
kind
Yeah.
of silly. But yeah, I thought that whole thing was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. It
It was
was. It
just
was like it
like,
was
why are we
like a built-in
promoting a movie?
commercial.
It was basically ABC shamelessly plugging a movie that they're attached to. So that was the only negative part of the night for me. Everything else I
Mhm.
enjoyed. I thought Kimmel killed it for the little that he had to do. Yes,
I
and
think he knew when to stay out of the way of the
yeah,
awards show, if that makes sense.
yeah,
I think and his humor was pretty much right on. Other than the cocaine bear part, and with the Malala part, I didn't really find that terribly funny or amusing. But I mean, whatever. It's neither here nor there. It certainly wasn't. We didn't. I think we needed a normal show after last year's, crazy into the show. And he said, "I want y'all to don't worry. I want y'all to do what you did last year. Sit there and do nothing,
sit there and do nothing.
and then clap for 19 minutes or whatever." He said, and but anyway, so what are your final thoughts? Well, I guess those were your final thoughts
Those
on the show.
were,
Yeah, that's
yeah, those were, yeah. No,
that was it.
I think they righted the ship, and as far as the presentation goes and the broadcast, and then
Right.
maybe next year you can be a little more bolder and try some things and be a little more grandiose if you want to next year. Now that we've kind of gotten back to the status quo, to the normal,
Right. I
and
have not looked at what the ratings were. I didn't have a chance to look that up. I didn't even think to see if it rated
I
any higher than last year or not.
I don't know if you can even trust ratings anymore because people watch things so many different ways. So it is what
Yeah. They watch it on delay. Not everybody can watch it live, but it's traditionally one of the shows that is watched live. And it did run
true.
over. It was what, maybe 30 minutes over,
Well,
roughly.
when did you expect it to be over? Because
Well, yeah,
it was over at 11:40, and to
it was
me
11:40.
that's fine. As long
I
as you don't
remember
go past midnight, I think I'm fine with it. Give me,
I
like, I know
remember
people
years
don't
when it
want
was
to
past
do.
midnight
Yeah,
growing up.
yeah, exactly. I know people, don't want. I think that it should be 3 hours, but it's hard. You're gonna if you're going to be dedicated to presenting all 23 awards and having the song performances and the in memoriam and the traditions, it's going to be impossible to get it under 3 hours, and people just have to get over that. 3.5 is probably the right thing to shoot for, and they got it at 3:40. So I mean, they went 10 minutes over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah. I just I have a lot of fond memories of just watching the Academy Awards growing up, and not, sometimes knowing who the people were, and realizing it was always my parents' show. It always, because they always watched it, and stuff like that. But watching it with my mom, especially, were really good memories of that. And but the shows used to seem to go on forever, and she'd let us stay up, late to watch it, or as long as it didn't go too late. But yeah, all in all, it was a good show. I agree with you. It was what it needed to be, and it was back on track. And then, we're already looking at films. I already told you, I think I texted you at one point and I said, a year from now, we'll be talking about Oppenheimer. So
Yes.
I anticipate that getting best picture nods, and who knows, they could be our best picture film a year from now. We'll
Yeah,
see.
absolutely. That
So,
and Super Mario Brothers.
and I tell you, if Super Mario Brothers is good, it could be a contender.
I
Um,
it won't.
I know, I
If
know,
they
I know.
nominate Super Mario Brothers for Best Picture, I'll be very surprised. I do think I do think that the I do think that the box office for Super Mario Brothers is going to be outstanding. But yeah, I definitely
Unless it
jest as
sucks.
far as, well, right. If it's bad, maybe people won't go. Yeah,
Yeah. All righty. Well, thank you, Scott. And if
you bet.
that's it, that's it. Thank you for our very extensive pre Oscar episode in this uh, comprehensive post op Oscar show. I almost said post op.
Hey, we came in under 2 hours, so
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. We're trying. We're back on
well
track.
under 2 hours. So
And
I think we did pretty good.
anyway, I'll be having more on the channel here. Getting back in the habit of podcasting again and doing things, and we'll be doing some more fun things. We've got some plans that we were going to do a few years ago on some of our favorite films of the decades. Hopefully, we can get on track with that sometime soon. So look for that. That's something we want to do, and we may have to revise our list a little bit now.
Yeah, you never know. Time changes things, doesn't
Time
it?
changes things, and but anyway, so thank y'all for listening to us. Thank you for all the downloads we had the other day. On short notice, we just decided let's just do this, and we cranked it up, and so now we got the video portion going. So we're up and running. And thank y'all, and thank you, Scott. And we'll see you at the movies, I guess. I don't know. I never know how to end it. All righty. Bye.
Catchphrase.
Catchphrase. All right. Let's turn off recording.